Hi, and welcome to this ONTAP Fundamentals training. My name is Peter and I will be your instructor for this course. This training really starts off as a fundamentals, so it has no prerequisites. I'm going to take it from scratch. You need no knowledge of Netapp and you need no knowledge of storage protocols. The only thing that you should be familiar with is the functionality of an IP address, a disk drive, and an operating system. That's it. Now, it's never my intention to insult your knowledge or anything of the kind in any way, but I just want to make sure that you will benefit from this training even if you have no Netapp experience at all. The training is constructed as follows. We'll do a bit of theory and we'll be using slides to do that. Then there will be a demo or a lab or whatever you want to call it, in which we actually do what we have talked about. So by the end of this training, you should have a solid basis for administering a Netapp ONTAP environment, no matter what the scale. At the end of each module, there will be a summary and most often a quiz with some questions. I've tried to make presentations of 10 minutes, but sometimes they are a little bit longer or a bit shorter, but the average length is 10 minutes. It would be very handy if you'd have your own lab environment. If you don't, then I will guide you in setting one up. So we'll first set up a single node cluster, which we will later scale out to a 2-node cluster. If at any time during the training you have a question or remark, you can always post me, and I will usually answer within 24 hours if required. Also, suggestions that would improve this training are very welcome. After this introductory talk, we will have a look at the contents. But first off, it is going to be a training with 2 different levels. In level 1, we will have a look at the basics of the most important features. So that would be disk management, volumes, and networking. Then the same topics and more will be explored further in level 2. So you could be a real novice at the start of this training, but by the end you will be a junior administrator to the least. Also, I have added the presentation texts of each module to the resource section. These texts are downloadable as PDF files. So let's first have a closer look at the topics. In Module 1, we will set up a lab environment with a single node cluster. So I will guide you in the deployment of the ONTAP simulator. Then we'll have a look at the disadvantages of clients having their data on local drives and why storage arrays are a better alternative. Then we'll have a look at what ONTAP really is and we'll run our first commands. In the module about disks and aggregates, we will be assigning disks and we will talk about aggregates and create one. After that, we'll talk about volumes and how to basically manage them. Then we'll have a look at networking by creating logical interfaces for client access. After that, we will have finished level 1 and we will then add a second node to the cluster. We'll have a closer look at the different shells that Netapp offers and the modes of the cluster shell. There's a number of protocols that clients can use to store their data. And we think of NFS, CIFS or SMB, Fibre channel over Ethernet, and iSCSI. Aggregates, volumes, and networking will be visited for a second time, but now more advanced. And after we are up to speed, we will configure 3 protocols at the cluster side as well as at the client side. And the last module is on WAFL and snapshots. WAFL is the file system that is used in ONTAP, and snapshots are a very famous and important technique that can be used to restore files or to create backups from. Now, before we start, I would like to draw your attention to the rating system. If you decide to enroll in this training, you might, after 10 minutes or so into the training, decide that you really like the training. Then it would be nice if you'd give a good rating. Of course, it's also possible that you decide that the training doesn't bring you what you expected in those first 10 minutes and you regret to have enrolled. Then you can very simply apply for a refund and you will get your money back. If you're not sure whether you like it or not, but want to give it a chance instead of going for the refund, then I politely ask you to postpone your rating until you have covered the larger part of the training so that you can form a good opinion on whether the training is valuable to you or not. So my suggestion is that we start.